Good morning, good morning, or afternoon rather. It is Friday. I am so happy to be here with you guys. What a wonderful, wonderful day for some good conversation. And again, I hope you all are doing well. It is a pleasure to see you guys today. Our topic today is going to be grief. So grab you some goodies. I've got a sparkling watermelon Izzy. Um, no added sugar. It's pretty delicious because I don't drink sodas. But we're going to have some sparkling conversation today. Again, if you're new here, my name is Sade. I go by the Barefoot Therapist. I will be going live every Friday at 12 o'clock. I will be going live specifically on YouTube, but for the first couple of Fridays, I plan to do better with like marketing and going live everywhere to make sure you guys know where to join me. If you haven't already checked out and subscribed to my new Substack, it is dope as fuck. I have multiple posts coming out weekly, but I am a writer in nature and creativity. So I'm really excited to bring Substack to you guys. Let me know your thoughts, but they are certainly coming from my heart. I love to write, and I love the idea of creative writing around topics that I'm passionate about. So I look forward to connecting with you guys there. And lastly, if you haven't gotten your spot for the retreat, we still have some spots left. Please check the link and register for the retreat. I look forward to seeing you. If you have any issues with that, make sure you DM me or message me. All right, so we're going to get right into the topic today. I really want to encourage you guys to be interactive. Please comment, ask questions. Let's engage. Our topic today is grief. Grief. And I wanted to talk about grief because two of the posts that I recently did on Substack are on grief. And it's around the idea that we experience a lot of loss in our lifetime. We experience loss from inception on. And of course, as we get older, we start to experience more loss in our older age than we do younger. But I want to share an experience with you guys. And my first memory of true loss in related to death. So I was in elementary school. I want to say maybe like sixth grade, fifth or sixth grade, something like that. And I'm from Los Angeles, California, for those of you that don't know. And I was in drill team. So it's not like drill team here in the South or like on the East Coast. Our drill team has like drums and stuff like that. Like I'll try to post a clip one of these days for what drill team was. Anyway, so one of the girls in my drill team that I loved and was close with was shot in a drive-by. And so when that happened, again, we hear about drive-by stuff like that. It's Los Angeles. Some things about LA are very true, and that is one of the things that are very true. So her and another little boy were killed in a drive-by. So us as a drill team, we showed up to her funeral in our full regalia, our uniforms, our boots, the whole thing. And that was my first experience of death. And again, I was like in fifth or sixth grade, maybe. And I'd never seen a casket. I didn't understand any of the concepts. So going into that church, seeing that very small casket was so traumatizing to me. And her body being there was so traumatizing to me. I do not go to wakes till this day. I don't go to see bodies. The first body I was ever exposed to or saw was a child, and she was not too much younger than me. In fact, if you guys remember the movie Tommy the Clown made, Rise, that movie at the end had a dedication to a young girl, and that was her. She was also a dancer for Tommy the Clown in LA, so he dedicated that movie to her. And maybe again, this is a lot of information y'all might not be aware of, but that is the same person. Her name was Quenisha. And That was my first introduction to death. So then I want to extend the conversation further when we talk about loss. Oftentimes, generally, socially, when we hear about loss, when we talk about loss, people talk about death. So I wanted to start with that. But when we talk about loss, loss can be the loss of anything: the loss of your dream, the loss of your hope, the loss of your relationship, the loss of your friendship, the loss of your career, the loss there something that you lose, whether it is taken from you or you walk away from it, it still is a loss. I don't hear enough people talking about loss in the context of even having to walk away or losing something that you love or that you miss or that you want very much. Oftentimes, loss is only discussed in something that is taken away from you. But what about the love of your life that you want to be with, but you know is not healthy for you? So you walk away. That still serves as a loss. And we can talk about loss without it being this topic that you can't touch, that you can't discuss, that you cannot express. One of the losses I hear a lot of couples struggling with is when a couple are together and one of the persons in the relationship experience the loss of an ex, the current partner can get very jealous and be very self-centered about this loss, as if grieving someone is the same thing as having current feelings of love for them. It's not the same thing. You can lose someone and have grief and miss them and grieve them and not have any romantic feelings for them. Those two things can exist together. The other thing I notice is that we jointly experience a lot of loss in the world: loss of our dignity, loss of our respect, loss of our safety. Again, Black folks are consistently experiencing loss of freedom, loss of personhood, loss of this idea that people are playing in our face, acting like we are not consistently losing rights that we deserve as human beings. So that also is a loss and is attached to grief. But what are some things that you guys attach to grief that typically get missed or not talked about? You guys can drop those in the comments. Some things that you guys struggle with when it comes to grief. Because grief is an inevitable experience. It is an experience that all of us have. It is an experience that all of us, if you have not had it, which to some degree at this point in life you will have it. The longer you live, the more you start to lose. The longer you live, the more you see the role that loss plays, even in our ability to grow. Loss is a part of our growth as well. Two things can be true. Um, but loss is also both a beautiful and challenging part of living, because loss also doesn't stop us from living. And sorry, y'all, because I'm now multitasking, as my daughter likes to say. Mom, you like to multitask. God, that's the best way that I work, is when I multitask, child. But my baby was leaning and rocking with it only because she's grown so much. It's a goldfish. It's called goldfish. It's a plant. But we're talking about loss. So can you guys throw in the comments some what are the things you struggle with in the conversation around grief and loss? Is it physical loss? Is it the emotional loss that you can't seem to wrap your mind around? Is it grieving over people who are still living, that it shifts, that it's a process? Grief over shifts in lifelong friendship as everyone pursues passions, careers, and priorities and change. You know what? And to your point, Chris, I love that you provided that comment. Grief in friendships, I think, have happen often, especially to your point, when we are growing and changing. And I think it's also grieving when you realize that friend wasn't the person you thought they were, at least that they are not supposed to carry over in a different season with you, or you're grieving because y'all are going in two different directions. You're grieving because the relationship served its purpose in proximity and access at the time, but now in this new version of your life and their lives, it doesn't serve the same purpose. That also triggers grief because we are grieving the loss of something. We're grieving the loss of this thing that we once felt safe with, that we once had as a part of our routine, that we once felt so connected to, that is no longer. Grieving friendships. I had a friend that I've had since high school. I actually met this friend. He was my boyfriend's best friend at the time, and then became my best friend. And so as we grew up, I mean, we were so close. We spent so much time together. Now, mind you, we lived on two different sides of town, went to two different schools, two different ways of living, but we were the best of friends. And that carried on till I went to college. Now, when I went to college, in hindsight, I was a little bit delusional about how close we were. I was trying to hold on to that relationship. So every time I went home, I would call them. I would make sure I went by and saw them and blah, 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 until I realized I was doing a lot of the heavy lifting and that our relationship had changed. Not once since I've moved home, still to this day, had that person ever come to visit me. They've come and flew to the state I was living in and did not come visit me. And this is where the rubber met the road. So this same person, again, that I loved, that I value, but that our relationship just was not the same, called and asked me, could I be in their wedding? And I said, what do you mean? I mean, mind you, not only did this person was not in my wedding, they did not come to my wedding. So I said, okay, well, I want you to be my best woman. Okay, but you want me to fly to, mind you, I'm from Los Angeles. You want me to fly to LA, do all the things. Right now, I'm married, I have kids. And I said, no, I'm good. So you're not going to be in my wedding. Again, you decided not to be in my wedding. You decided not to come to my wedding. But because I set a boundary with you, I said no. On top of the fact that we hadn't spoken in eons because I had decidedly not called to do all the heavy lifting. We were not the friends I thought we were a long time ago. This was not like the first iteration or wonder about this. And in that moment, I had already grieved the fact that our relationship was gone. It made me sad because there were many times where I said, hey, like, why you don't call me no more? Like, what's up? Like, I call you, I try to text you, I try to talk to you, but I hadn't grasped that our relationship changed. I didn't want it to. I didn't want it to. That was one of my best friends at the time. But then I realized we hadn't been that version of friends for many, many years. But sometimes we hold on to the idea of things, and instead of allowing ourselves the opportunity to grieve the thing that we want and we miss, especially as it relates to friends, we hold on, we do all the heavy lifting until we've had enough. And then we realize, oh, this shit hadn't been the same for many, many years. I'm just holding on now to an idea. I'm just holding on to this idea that possibly we would come back to be what we were, but we'll never be what we were. Neither one of us are those same people. So sometimes, excuse me, that can even be a loss in and of itself. It's like, wow, I recognize that the version that I miss is one that I will never have again. Our lifestyles, our proximity, our access to each other will never be the same. So I had to accept that our relationship may have been no longer. Now, that does not negate the fact that at the time when we were good, we were really, really good. One of the things that I've developed now, and I teach people and I apply for myself, is friendship is a very flexible term. Friendship doesn't mean The only friend that you have is this ride or die. There are friendship that serves for seasons and purposes. So I may have the friend that is the good time, man or woman, who we have such a good time together, but outside of that, we really keep it short. Outside of that, I don't really involve them in any other area. Or I have the friend that is the very deep intellectual perspective friend who can provide me advice and reasonable perspective and also maintain my information in secrecy. That's great. Then I might have the friend who does life with me. Like I have my best friend who has been my best friend since the 6th grade. We do life together. It's bigger than her playing one area or another. That changes depending on the season. We've been friends since I've been in the 6th grade. But then I have a friend group of my line sisters who, and I have two different groups of line sisters. So I have my one friend group, my line sisters. We have a group text. We've had a group text for many, many years. We go on girls trips together. We don't talk on the phone every day, but we will kiki in the text. We will call and check on each other. And then we get together and it's like time never passed. So I am saying that to say you can have different pots of friends. People really struggle with like being able to be flexible with the fact that people are don't most people are not supposed to be everything to you. They are supposed to be in the box and place that work for the both of you best. It plays to both of your strengths and both of your needs in that particular area. They don't have to be everything. So when we talk about loss can also just be referring to the transition of something. Like this thing is not what it used to be. This thing is not what I thought it was. This thing is not what I wanted it to be. We can also experience grief around that. And again, I'm going to speak briefly about the process of grief. It is not vertical. It does not go in a straight line. It is a process, meaning it has ebbs and flows, denial, anger, sadness, all like they can come, all those feelings can come at the same time, at different times. You could have a couple good days and then out of nowhere, you're having a horrible day where you're extremely angry. That is the process of grief. So please don't give yourself a hard time. It comes like that. But friendship, thank you for sharing that, Chris. Friendship is a really difficult thing to grieve because we love our friends and we get stuck on reminiscing on a time where everything was great, not realizing that we have transitioned and changed as well, and we may never have that same thing because we are not the same, but we can have something greater. It will just look different, but we have to embrace that things have changed. What else is hard for you guys as it relates to grief? And if you're just popping in, we're talking about grief. And again, y'all might see me looking down. I'm making a friendship bracelet. I'm making this one for someone, but I love doing little things like this to help keep my hands busy. So I'll make like little friendship bracelets and stuff like that. Also, why I like working with my plants. It helps me keep working with my hands. I even redid my front garden, which if I ever get that idea again, I want somebody to stop me. That was so much back breaking work. I like stretched or pulled something in my back carrying these heavy ass like mulch bags, but I was determined. It looks good. I was very, very proud of like cleaning all the weeds out, getting the garden cover and then covering it with mulch. It was such a process, but we're done with that. But if you guys have any comments or questions around grief, please drop them in the comments. We're talking about grief today. If you're just popping in, if you missed the bit I said earlier about my Substack, I just wrote 2 posts on my Substack about grief. So if you haven't checked out my Substack, please do. But we're talking about grief. Do you guys have any questions, comments about what things you struggle with as it relates to grief? Chris, as a comment earlier, talked about how grief as it relates to friendships can be very difficult. which they are. I think friendships are one of the things that we internalize as being forever, even though they're not. Even though they're not. And I think sometimes we can limit friendships when we try to make them something instead of letting them evolve into something, if that makes sense. I don't need to make you into my best friend. I just need to let you be the friend that you can be to me, and then I determine how that works for me or not. Same thing with relationships, letting people show us who they are instead of making it up for them. All right, thank you, Lauren. When and how do you decide to move forward without letting the vessel go and accept the spiritual replacement? This is the thing I'm going to say about that. Follow your intuition. This is the thing that I learned that I think is the most helpful in many situations when we're trying to make decisions, is we already know that it has changed. We already know it will not be the same. We already know. We know when that happens. Our intuition, our internal monitors give us those notices. I knew long time before that my friendship with my friend had changed, and it had changed a long time ago. I was the one trying to hold on for dear life. That was me trying to make something that wasn't something for a very long time. You have to decide to let go when you get tired. You got to be ready to walk away, and nobody knows what that is other than you. But I will say there is something internally that says this is gone. And it said that to me long time ago, but I just refuse. I'm like, yo, this is my best dude. Like, we've been friends a long time. Like, what the heck? But that was my grief not letting me accept that this had changed. And this is the other thing, Lauren, that I think is helpful, is that we can recognize that two things can be true. I can grieve that this friendship or this thing is not anymore. I need to grieve that. I need to grieve the loss. And I can accept that it can be something different. I don't have to hate you walking away. I don't have to be angry walking away. I don't have to be upset. It ain't no beef. It don't have to be none of that. Sometimes people feel like they need anger to fuel them to make the decision they don't want to make. And we don't have to do that to ourselves. Anger is a part of grief, but anger shouldn't be a part of a decision. I don't need to be angry to make this decision. I need to have a harmony between love and logic, and like emotional awareness and logic, so I can make a thoughtful decision. But I don't have to be angry to stand on my boundaries. That's not required. I can still, this particular friend, I still love dearly. Will I call them? No. Will we hang out? No. When I go home, do I let them know I'm coming? No. Will our relationship ever be the same? Absolutely not. But do I hold true that the friendship that we had was everything, and it was wonderful when it was, and all the things? 100%. Two things can be true. Two things can be true. And that sometimes friendships go through seasons too, you know. It's like saying, hey, I accept, and some of it, I think it's just acceptance. I accept that this thing has changed, but I still love you anyway. I can love you through the change and also adjust. Two things can be true. Don't be fueled to make decisions through anger and hate. Sometimes that is the battery we feel like we need in our back to make the decision we need to make for ourselves, and we ain't got to do that, because that usually has lingering consequences emotionally. We don't have to do that. I hope that answered your question, Lauren. So if y'all are just joining us, we are talking about grief. If you have any perspective on grief, or anything that you want to ask a question, or something that you've struggled with as it relates to grief, please drop it in the comments. Y'all, this little Izzy watermelon, no sugar, no artificial sweeteners. Now you can tell it's no added sweeteners. It's actually delicious. I love these little Izzies, by the way. I don't drink soda, but they give me a little yang yang yang. I did have another. Let me finish process. Okay. Y'all can drop again. I can see. I believe I see the comments from YouTube. I see the comments from Instagram. If you're on another vessel, I'm not. I should be able to see it, but I can see on Instagram and Facebook, and then excuse me, Instagram and YouTube, and then I'm also live on Facebook. But drop in the comments as you see fit. Please share the live. But this is the question I did want to ask. How many of you were taught about death and dying as a child? Was anybody did anybody explain it to you? Did anybody explain it to you? Also, absolutely. I'm sorry. My Substack is the Barefoot Therapist. It's the Barefoot Therapist. Oh dang, I don't think I had it on my YouTube. Sorry about that. It's the Barefoot Therapist. Let me see. I'm gonna drop the link for my Substack. Thank you for saying that. I thought I had it on there. My bad. And I wanted to ask you guys about if I'll ask you guys that because I realized that a lot of adults do not like to share or talk to their children about death and dying. They don't talk about that. The same way a lot of adults don't talk to their kids about their bodies and all of that. I posted it, so just if you guys have any questions, I also put it in the comments about my Substack. That's my bad. Once you hit the heartbreaking part of tired, how do you remove without causing another time ripple? Give me an example. I don't know what you mean when you say you hit the breaking part of being tired. How do you remove? Are you saying how do you remove yourself? No, and nobody does. And you know what? Lauren was just saying also how when you're grieving, typically people will just tell you cry and get over it. Oh, you should be over it already. You need to get back to your life. No, baby, my life won't be the same. What do you not fucking get? What do we not get about the idea around grief and loss is that things will not be the same. That's the idea around grief and loss. Crying and get over it is quite literally opposite of the motherfucking point. I can't stand that. The other thing, this is gonna be a random back box moment. I don't like when people say I'm sorry for your loss. I don't say that. I have to be intentional about saying it because it's such a routine thing to say. Sorry for your loss. I have to be really mindful. I try not to say it. I try to say my condolences or something like that, because what am I sorry for? Why am I personalizing your loss? I need to be able to honor your loss without making it about me. And for whatever reason, I'm sorry for your loss feels like bullshit. So that's a just random whatever. But I don't like I'm sorry for your loss. The other is, and I think to your point, Lauren, a lot of people are uncomfortable with sadness. They're uncomfortable with grief. They're uncomfortable with what we would call bad feelings, or people would call bad feelings. Like if you're not happy, if you don't have joy, because even if you have that, that's a problem. That's neither here nor there. But if you're like crying too much or you're sad too long, people want you to get past their discomfort. It's really not about you. It's not. It's not. Now, are there times where people go overboard? Yes. But oftentimes I find when people are grieving, they just need the space to feel their feelings and not work on your timeline. Like they don't need to be on your timeline while they're grieving. They need to go down their own journey in their own timeline. So some of this is just about like accepting that people are going to be sad, and we need to learn how to be with them anyway in that. And that's okay. And I think it just a lot of times makes people feel uncomfortable. I hope that answered your question. And I posted the Substack too. But I love talking about grief, because I think we experience grief more often than we're willing to accept. I think we experience loss more often that is discussed. I think we experience the thing that you talked about, Lauren, where people want us to hurry up and get over those uncomfortable feelings because they don't know how to sit with us in loss. They don't know what to do. They can't fix it. They can't change it, so they just want you to get over it, and that's not the way it works. How can we support somebody feeling sad without making ourselves sad or opening a wound that we are partially healed from ourselves? Sometimes it's just sitting in silence. One of the things I'd say is like meeting people where they are, similarly to like when I'm gonna give you guys an example, right? There are times where like I was with my son, all right, and my son is 3, and he was just having a hard day, and he was throwing tantrums, and again, he's upset. There's nothing I can do to fix whatever it is, because I've asked, he cannot really explain it. So one of the things I'll offer, or 2 things that I'll offer, is physical touch, hugs. I'm like, son, do you need a hug? Do you need a hug? Because usually it's the physical touch that gives him like this sense of safety and security. The other is the comfort. So I will offer cuddling. Hey, you want to cuddle? Do you need cuddles? And so like for my friends, I offer something similar. What do you need from me? That's the first question I ask, is what do you need from me? Because then you can assess, depending on what they say, you can assess if you have it to offer. You may not have it to offer. The other is you can sit in silence. We don't have to have answers for everything. We don't need to give advice that they didn't ask for. We don't have to have you're going to be okay. No, they're not going to be okay. And you don't even need to say it. Don't try to find something to say. Just don't say shit. Just be present with them. Being present means I'm sitting here. I may be holding your hand. I may let you put your head on my shoulder, but I'm just here with you, and I'm present with you in your pain. It is not about me. I don't have to make it about me. I don't have to say something just to say something. Be present, be concise, be thoughtful. And being thoughtful may be like, and being considerate. That may be you say nothing. There is so much, y'all. I am learning this more as an adult, but I've learned this so much as a therapist. There is so much power in silence. There is so much power in saying nothing. You can learn, gain, grow so much if you listen and observe and engage and are present more than you speak. Sometimes, and I mean a lot of times, your presence is enough. We try to overcompensate with saying things or doing things as if our presence isn't enough. So the question Lauren asked was, how can we support somebody feeling sad without making it about ourselves or opening up a wound? Again, being thoughtful and considerate in my presence is enough. Hey, can I just sit here with you? I love you. I am here for you. I am here in both physical presence and support. What do you need from me? And let's say I don't have the emotional thing to give. I don't have anything to say, but I can, my body can serve as a physical support to you. I can sit here with you in your grief and your silence. What a fucking powerful thing to do for someone. What a selfless thing to do for someone is make yourself fully physically present without trying to fix it with your words. You can't fix their grief. You cannot fix their sadness. You can't bring the person back. You can't fix the thing that they are like completely heartbroken over, but you can love them through it. You can be present with them through it, and you can sit through those uncomfortable things. You can sit through those uncomfortable things. That's love. That's support. I may not have the words, because what words? You're not their therapist, and you don't need to be. They didn't ask you for advice, so don't give it. Just be. Just be there. You being there is more than enough. Your love is like excreting through your pores that all that love and support that you are showing to them, without it being about you and your problems and metaphorically telling a story about you. You ain't got to do all that. Hey, it's gonna be all right. Come on, get up. No, I'm not okay. No, I don't want to get up. I'm fucking sad and I want to lay in my bed. Okay, I guess we cuddling and we watching TV. What you need? You want me to go get the popcorn? You need a little. What do you need? Your presence is enough. It is enough. I cannot say that enough, especially in grief. Hey Chris, thank you. Right point. I dislike sorry for your loss. It absolutely speaks to the level of discomfort folks have in handling grief. Sitting with grief is something I wasn't taught. That's awesome that you share that. I love that. That is such a great point. And you know what? I think we just do what we see our parents do and other people do. And again, even this conversation I share with you guys, I don't like the I'm sorry for your loss thing. That was something I really thought through as I kept saying, and I hear people saying, I'm like, what am I saying sorry for? What am I apologizing for? It feels disingenuous. It's the same thing as I feel like when people say, how are you? Do you really give a fuck? Or are you just asking me in passing because that is the social thing to say? So I also am trying to be mindful about not asking people how they are unless I'm interested in the answer. Because a lot of times I'm not. It had become so routine, and just when you see somebody, hey, how you doing? I don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck either. Be intentional with your words. No disrespect intended. Just be intentional about your words. Think about how many things you say and do in your day-to-day living that you don't think twice about. You don't even put a second thought towards. And you don't give, if you're asking these questions, do you really give a fuck about what they're saying? And if you don't, why are you asking? Why are you asking? I can say, hey, it's good to see you. Hey, that's it. I'm going to say that's it. Just hey. I'm here. That, I mean, we can keep it real cute, real short. Real cute, real short. Excuse me. But I think, one of my most physically representative plants of this feeling today is my little mama's right here. She's a heart. She's really a succulent, not a cactus, but she's a Hoya, and it's a heart. But I keep her right here on my desk because she reminds me that we can love ourselves and love through people through just about anything. That doesn't guarantee that our relationship will stay the same. That doesn't guarantee that things won't change. That just means I can love you regardless of the thing that you're going through right now. I can love you. I can love you. Again, regardless of the relationship status and all of that, love is eternal. And that love doesn't look like one thing. And we can love through people through their hard times. We need to do that because we need love through our hard times. How can that be done for somebody incarcerated for another short time? How to put space? How do you put space, but not with the person, but with the actual? How do you put space? I think that's just determining what you want your engagement to be. Like, I'm in, incarceration is a really interesting thing. I worked in a prison. Those are a lot of stories for a whole nother day. I worked in a prison as a correction officer, and the level of trauma and sadness that ensue is quite overwhelming. But I also think it is a reminder for people that being in prison is a very particular experience. And I have many family members in prison. I do not write. I don't write. I I don't write. I don't send money. I and again, it depends on what obviously is going on with your person, but the love is still there. And showing up for someone also depends on your relationship. So I think your question is a bit more complex in it depends on the relationship. It depends on the norms and values that you put on that. Because I can still love you and support you. But that doesn't I mean that can look like many things if I'm articulating this the way that I'm thinking it. Um Love and support can look like many things. But I have a pretty good amount of folks in prison. I've had one of my um, cousins in prison since high school, and he's never coming home. He's never coming home. I have many family members in prison. So I understand. Um, I don't. Okay, listen. We are working on take. The question was, do I take Medicare? We are working on taking Medicare. This process has been so long and arduous, to be very frank. So we are in the process. We do not currently take it, but we are in the process. I do have subscriptions though. So if you guys are in search of coaching, I do offer coaching and I do offer coaching subscriptions. Because you can't use your insurance for coaching. You have to pay out of pocket, but you can be in any state and get coaching from me. Um, and we offer that as a subscription to pay a little less than you would pay for coaching per session. If you live in the state of Virginia, I do take a lot of the insurances, commercial and Medicaid, and we do take TRICARE. And it's not just me, so I own a group practice. So I have 3 other Black female providers that also provide therapy, and we do it all virtually. So if you're looking for services, hit me up. If you see the Mahogany project spelled projek.com, you can always go through the website and contact us through there. Call us. My office manager can get you straight. Um, but just let me know. Thank you for asking that question. I really appreciate you guys sharing so much. I have to be honest with you guys. I don't necessarily like doing these lives or like even the stuff on YouTube longer form, because it feels like I'm talking to myself. So you guys have no idea how much I appreciate you sharing in the comments and making it a conversation, because that really motivates me and encourages me, and like makes this so much more enjoyable when you guys ask questions or provide information in the comments. Again, I am so grateful for that. So, as I wrap up, I will be back Friday at 12. Please subscribe to my YouTube at The Barefoot Therapist. I'm going to give it a couple more times where I'm going to go live everywhere, but I will primarily be live on YouTube. I'm trying to get my watch hours together because, mama, I do short form content. This long form content is pretty annoying, but I get to engage more with people, so I like it. But lives at 12, my goal is to go live every Friday at 12 on YouTube. So check me out there and then share the live. It was such a pleasure to be with you guys today. I will see y'all soon. Bye.